The door clicked, and she didn't even look up from her phone. "Hey," Megan muttered, flat, like I was a delivery guy who left the bag on the porch. "Evening," I answered, setting my keys in the bowl. The kitchen smelled like reheated takeout and lemon cleaner. Her eyes slid over me, then away, like I was a dull commercial. "You're late." 15 minutes, I said. "Traffic on I-84. You want my dash cam?" "Don't start." I hung my jacket, watched her thumb fire messages like a metronome. I waited for the usual quick kiss, the check-in about each other's day, 2 minutes of normal human connection. Nothing came. I rinsed a glass, poured water, leaned against the counter. "You make dinner plans?" She gave a half shrug. "I already ate. Leftovers if you want." "Thanks for the thought," I said. "Hallmark won't know what to do with us." "Can you not?" Her jaw tightened. I had a long day. So did I. I kept my voice steady. I prefer talking like adults instead of playing charades. "Then here's the talk," she said, eyes still on the screen. "You need to pull your weight more. The house, the planning, my schedule, everything. I can't carry us." I put the glass down. "I pay the mortgage, the utilities, most of the food. I fixed the sink Saturday and put in your new shelves. That's basic." "It's adult," I replied. "What's your specific ask? Don't lawyer me." She finally looked up. "Try being attentive." There was the word, vague, blunt, impossible to hit without her moving the target. I kept my hands on the counter, the granite cold under my palms. "I'm listening," I said. "What does attentive look like this week?" She sighed, annoyed I'd turned her line into homework. "Figure it out." If I'd known where it was headed, I would have started counting my steps to the exit right then. I changed, warmed an old bowl of pasta, ate standing up. She drifted past me, phone to ear. "No, I can't tonight," she cooed into the receiver. "He's home. Rain check." A pause. Her mouth curled. "You know I'd rather be there." She walked into the hallway, voice dropping, but not enough. I stared at the empty bowl and felt something settle. Not rage, not hurt. A switch. Data logged. When she came back, I wasn't on the offensive. I was calm. "Next week," I said, "I'm changing a few things." "Like what?" "Shared calendars now for logistics only. My time is my time. The monthly budget gets split. I handle my accounts, you handle yours. I'll transfer my share for groceries and the mortgage on the 1st of every month, on the dot, no extras. And we're stopping the Thursday game nights with your friends until the disrespect at those stops." "Excuse me." She let out a laugh that had no humor in it. "You're punishing me?" "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm managing access. If I'm a roommate who doesn't pull his weight, I'll function like one until I see respect." She stared as if I'd started speaking German. "You can't just decide." "I just did," I cut in. "You'll be fine. You're resourceful." She texted furiously. 10 minutes later, she floated over, tone airy. "You're right," she said, fingers brushing my shoulder like nothing happened. "I've been on edge. Work's a mess. I'll make dinner on Friday. Let's reset. Pasta with the good sauce, your favorite." "Good," I said. "We'll see Friday." It wasn't an apology. It was a tactical pause. I logged that too. Friday came, and she cooked, candles and a playlist like we were dating again. She poured wine, asked about my day with a soft smile that used to be mine. I answered, kept it even, watched her watch me. "I know I've been distant," she said. "I'm trying." "I noticed the effort," I said. "Thank you for dinner." Her eyes searched my face for the old softness. I kept my line. We ate, we cleaned up together, and for an hour it almost felt like our house again. Then her phone buzzed, the screen lit, and she angled it down so fast she nearly knocked her glass off the counter. "Everything good?" I asked, drying my hands. "Yeah," she said too quickly. "Work email." "On a Friday at 9? I should switch careers." "No jokes, please," she said, and walked to the hallway. The door closed. I went to bed and slept in the guest room. I didn't explain it. I didn't make a speech. I put one pillow on the spare bed and set my alarm. The rule stood. Saturday morning, my buddy Eddie pulled up in his old pickup to help me in the garage. We've known each other 20 years. He's a contractor with a laugh that carries across a lot and a radar for nonsense. "She's not coming with us to Marcia's tonight?" he asked, tossing me a box of screws. Marcia's our neighbor, the one who hosts backyard cookouts like it's a sport. 50 people show minimum. "Undecided," I said. Megan breezed and wearing gym gear that cost more than my first car. Boys, she nodded, snagging a water bottle. What's the plan? Garage shelves, Eddie said. Beer after. She smiled at him, warm, and at me, cool. I might stop by Marcia's later. Depends on my energy. Show up or don't, I replied, wiping my hands. No pressure. She gave me the look. How dare you not chase me? Eddie watched in silence. He's not subtle, but he knows when to shut up. That night at Marcia's, Megan did show. She was bright and responsive with everyone else. When she got to me, she dimmed the lights again. There you are, Marcia grinned, handing me a paper plate piled high. Eat. You look like you actually worked today. I did, I said. Witness present. Eddie raised his beer. He's learning to use a level. Megan smiled sweetly at him. Thank you for supervising. Someone has to. Someone just built 3 wall racks. I said, conversational. You're welcome for the extra storage. She wrinkled her nose. Relax. It's a joke. Try a new material, I told her. This one's worn out. She blinked, thrown by the pushback in front of other people. Marcia caught my eye, something like approval there. Megan changed tactics. You're coming with me to Lisa's baby shower next Saturday, she announced. Don't make a face. You promised months ago. I'll send a gift, I said. I'm not a prop for your friends to measure. Not doing the guessing games. That's childish. It's a boundary, I replied. Have fun. Eddie whistled under his breath. Megan's jaw tightened, but she smiled at the people next to us. You know how he is, she said to them, performative lightness. Stubborn as a mule. I'm consistent, I answered. That's different. She stepped closer. We'll talk later, she murmured. We can talk now, I said, steady. I'm not hiding rules anymore. She backed off, plastered the bright smile back on, and drifted to a circle of moms. 10 minutes later, she loudly told a story about how I once ruined our vacation because I forgot a charger. People laughed. Eddie glanced at me. You want me to clap? He asked dryly. I'll pass, I said, raising my voice just enough. Hey, Megan, tell the part where I booked that trip, paid for it, and drove 12 hours so you could sleep. Or is that not a fun bit? Her smile faltered. It's a joke. Then we need a new comedian, I said. Remember when we discussed not doing the my husband's an idiot routine in public? She stared. I never agreed to that. I never asked, I said. I stated a rule. A few heads turned. Marcia, who doesn't miss anything, stepped between us with a tray, her voice light but firm. You two want to take this to the side porch? We're finished, I said. We were just aligning expectations. Megan didn't like that, but she said nothing. She left early, with a perfunctory kiss on the cheek that landed like a reminder. Eddie watched her go. You good? He asked. I'm done playing nice with bad rules, I said. Time to change the game. And I did. The next morning I moved my toolbox into the study and installed a lock. I set up a new password manager. I pulled my name off 2 of her auto-pay apps and put my share into a joint account that did nothing unless both of us clicked yes. Not a speech, just paperwork. She noticed by lunch. What's this? She waved a notification on her phone. Why did you touch the accounts? Because, I said, stirring eggs, I'm not underwriting disrespect. That is so dramatic. It's math. Respect in, support out. Disrespect in, restrictions out. She folded her arms. You think you're in charge now? I think I'm in charge of me, I replied. You've got you. We're adults. We can do it. She laughed, and then she didn't. Around noon, she came over with a different face on, softer, eyes big. Okay, she said quietly. You're right. I've been unpleasant. Let's reset. Tonight, movie night. Your pick. I'll make nachos. No phones. Sounds nice, I said. I meant it. I wanted to believe she still chose us. She tried. We watched an old action flick. She leaned into me, her feet tucked under my leg like the early days. She asked about Eddie's kids, teased me about my taste in music, kissed my cheek. For 2 hours, I let myself relax half an inch. Then her phone buzzed on the coffee table, screen up. M flashed in preview with a little blue heart. She snatched it so fast it might have burned her. She smiled too hard. Spam, she said. In this economy, I replied. They're getting creative. I'm trying, she said. Can you give me that? I gave you that, I said. I'm watching what you give back. She didn't like that mirror. She went to bed early. I stayed and wrote down 3 things in a notebook. 1. Lock study. 2. Separate budget. 3. Stop pretending. Monday came with a full inbox at the firm and a project manager who lived for last-minute changes. At lunch, I walked 2 blocks to a coffee shop I like because the barista doesn't ask me about my weekend, he just remembers I take it black. I sat by the window, checked the score on my phone, enjoyed 5 minutes of quiet. "Hello," a woman said. Polished, early 40s, neat blazer, steady eyes. "Hi," I answered. "Do we know each other?" "We're about to." She sat across from me like she'd done it before. "I'm Lauren. I'm Mike's wife." I put the cup down too fast. The saucer clinked. Mike, Megan's friend from high school. The one who just gets me, as she used to say. The one I never minded because boundaries were clear. Or I thought they were. Lauren placed a thin folder on the table. "He's on a date right now," she said evenly. "With your wife." I stared. "Are you sure we're talking about the same Mike?" It came out more polite than I felt. She didn't blink. "Yes. I hired someone. It's all there." I opened the folder. Photos of a parking lot I knew. 2 people who looked like mine with hands where they didn't belong. Screenshots. Reservations at a place she told me was a quick bite with coworkers. Time stamps lined up with nights she was too tired to talk. I kept my face neutral. I took a slow breath that tasted like old coffee in tin. Lauren leaned back, watching me like a medic watches a patient who just absorbed the headline. "I'm not making a scene," she said. "I'm making a decision. I figured you deserved information." "You do this often?" I asked, because humor helps me breathe. "First time," she said. "I don't plan to repeat it." "What do you want from me?" "Nothing," she said. "Consider this a courtesy call. If you want to coordinate exit plans, I have a lawyer. If you want me to disappear, I will. I'm not here to drag anyone. I'm here to stop being ignored." "I appreciate the directness," I said. Honest words felt like cool water after a week in a desert of half-truths. She stood. "He'll lie," she said plainly. "She might too. That's their nature together. Good luck." "Lauren," I said, and she paused. "Thank you." She nodded once and left. I sat with the folder. I didn't get loud. I didn't call anyone. I finished my coffee because I pay for what I order. Then I walked 2 blocks back to work and finished my day like a professional. At 5, Dan, my boss, knocked on my door. Dan's 50-something. Cynical, good with numbers and nonsense. "You look like you swallowed a nail," he said. "I'm fine," I replied. "Deliverables on your desk." "You want to reschedule the client dinner tomorrow?" he asked. "Bring your wife like you promised." "Change of plan," I said. "I'll come alone." "Trouble?" "New rules," I answered. He studied me, then nodded. "Good. Don't bring problems to work. Bring results." "Always," I said. I drove home, folded the folder into my briefcase, and cooked a steak. When Megan came in at 7:30 with a bright hi, like she hadn't been somewhere else, I plated my food and sat. "You didn't wait for me," she said, like I'd broken etiquette. "You weren't here," I answered. "I ate." She poured herself a glass of water, looked at my plate. "Smells good." "It is." "Are you mad at me?" "No. You sound mad." "I sound done with games." She set the glass down. "You want to talk about something?" "I do," I said. "Anniversary's next week. I'm thinking we host. Small group. Friends. Family." Her face brightened, too fast. "That's a great idea." "And invite Mike," I added. Nothing on her face moved. Then she shrugged. "Sure. He's an old friend." "Invite him," I said. "Use words. Out loud. Now." She frowned. "You're being weird." "I'm being specific," I said. "Call him. Put it on speaker." She hesitated, then took out her phone and dialed. "Hey, you," she chirped when he answered. "We're doing a little thing next Friday. You free?" Whatever he said was muffled. She looked at me, lips pressed, then smiled into the phone. "Great. See you then." She ended the call and slid the phone into her pocket. "Happy?" she asked. "For the first time today," I said. "Yes." She shifted. "Are we okay?" "We'll be whatever we choose to be," I said. "I'm going to the gym." The next days I moved like a man winding a clock. I dusted off a guest list and sent texts. I ordered a tray from a deli 2 towns over and picked it up myself. I canceled the hotel she'd reserved for a weekend getaway we both knew she didn't plan to spend with me. I told Eddie he'd be there, told Marcia to bring her famous cornbread, Told Dan not to expect me to answer emails after 6 on Friday. Wednesday night, Megan attempted illusion number 2. She came into the study with a beer I like and a look that could sell anything. "I miss us," she said, setting the bottle on my desk. "I know I've been off. I'm sorry. I'm working on it." I swiveled my chair. "I hear you." She stepped closer, hand on my shoulder. "I want to fix this." "Then stop the jokes at my expense," I said. "Stop disappearing. Respect the new budget. Show up when you say you will. And cut the side meetings with Mike." She blinked. "There are no side meetings." "Then that one will be easy." She held my gaze for a beat too long. "You don't trust me." "I review behavior," I said. "Trust follows." She exhaled, nodded as if absorbing wisdom, and left the beer. I didn't drink it. Symbolism matters. Friday arrived like a court date no one admits they're walking toward. The house was clean by 4. I set out plates, turned on music, sliced lemons, lined up the tray. I wore a clean shirt and the look of a man who finally understood he didn't owe anyone a performance. Guests arrived around 6. Eddie first, grinning, with a pie he admitted he bought. "Nice tie," he said. "Trying to impress your wife." "I'm trying to impress myself," I said. He laughed. Marcia came with a covered dish and 2 stories about her HOA. Dan showed up in a sport coat, shook my hand like he always approved of me, but never said it aloud. Megan flitted between them, hostess mode on full blast, and if you'd walked in fresh, you'd say we were happy. At 6:30, the doorbell rang. Mike stood there in a shirt that fit too well for a friend, a smirk tucked in the corner of his mouth. Beside him, a woman in a neutral dress and calm posture. "Lauren." Megan froze when she saw Lauren. It was half a second, but I saw it. Then she smiled wide. "Mike, you made it." And, "Hi," she said to Lauren, reaching for polite. "I don't think we've met." "We have now," Lauren said with a smile that could cut marble. "I'm Lauren. I came as a courtesy." "Of course," Megan murmured. "Come in." They did. We made small talk that tasted like metal. 10 minutes later, Megan took the center of the room. She's always loved an audience. "And this," she said loudly, waving a hand toward me, "is my husband, who thinks grilling burgers counts as cooking. Be nice to him, he tries." A few people chuckled on reflex. Eddie didn't. Dan didn't. Mike's eyes flicked to me, then away. Lauren placed her clutch on the side table, like she was clear on where this was going. Megan smiled toward me, the practiced, cutting one. "Introduce us to your girlfriend," she teased when I stepped next to Lauren. I glanced at Lauren, who didn't blink. I turned back to the room. "Sure," I said evenly. "Everyone, this is Lauren. She's Mike's wife." The laugh stuttered and died. It was quiet enough to hear the ice shift in a glass. Megan's smile cracked. "What is this?" "Facts," I answered. I set the folder on the coffee table, flipped it open to a page you can't misinterpret. "This is what you two call friendship. Appointments. Photos. Reservations. Times that match the nights you were too tired to look me in the eye." "Don't do this," Mike muttered, reaching for Lauren's arm. She didn't move. "I'm not going anywhere," Lauren said, clear enough for anyone in the kitchen to hear. Megan's mouth worked, but the sentences didn't land. "You're twisting." "No," I said. "I'm ending." She reached for the folder. I let her. Very carefully, she flipped page after page, color draining, hands not as steady as she wanted them to be. "This is fake," she said. "It's out of context." "Out of the context of our marriage," I agreed. "Correct." Dan looked at me, then at her, then at Mike, and gave a small shake of his head that said what it needed to. Eddie didn't hide his disgust. He's incapable of subtlety when the line's been crossed. Marcia stood in the doorway with a dish towel in her hand, like a referee. "We can talk later," Megan said, voice tiny, then stronger. "Everyone, I'm sorry this party." "We're continuing," I said. "New theme. You're being cruel." "I'm being final." I pointed to the hallway. "You have 1 hour. Pack your things. Essentials only. My brother's old duffel is in the hall closet. Take it." She stared. "You can't kick me out of my home." "My home," I corrected even. "Title, mortgage, utilities. Everything with my name on it. You'll land on your feet. You have resources." She looked at Mike like he was a lifeline. He couldn't meet her eyes. Lauren watched him, not crying, not yelling, just marking the end of an era. Megan swallowed and finally showed the person who'd been in charge this whole season. Not the one who joked, not the one who pleaded. The one who tried to bend rules. She set the folder down and squared her shoulders. Are you serious? She asked. Completely, I said. And calm. She looked around the room for an ally. Most people studied their plates. Eddie crossed his arms. Dan checked his watch. Marcia spoke first, voice soft but solid. You heard him, she said. Go pack. Megan walked past me. I didn't block her. I didn't follow. I poured myself sparkling water and turned to the guests. Food's on the table, I said. Drinks in the cooler. Stay if you want. Tonight we're celebrating clarity. Lauren exhaled, a small thing like a knot coming loose. Mike moved toward the door. Don't do this, he muttered to her. I'm not doing anything, she replied. I'm watching consequences. Feels new. Eddie came over and bumped my shoulder. You okay? I'm good, I said. Better than this morning. We ate. People talked, quieter. Dan told a story about a client who tried to pivot on a contract and learned what the word no means. Marcia refilled plates. After 37 minutes. Yes. I checked. Megan came down with a duffel and a small tote. I'm not leaving, she announced. You can't tell me. I already did, I said. And you already packed. Where am I supposed to go? You're an adult with friends, I replied. I'm sure Mike has a couch. She flinched. Mike looked at the floor. Lauren's mouth twitched, sadness or relief, I couldn't tell. Megan straightened. This is insane, she said. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but I won't regret respecting myself. You're throwing away everything for what? Pride. For dignity, I said. Different line item. She stood there a beat. Then her face snapped back to the bright charm. Fine, she said. Enjoy your little party. Enjoy your new address, I replied. She walked out. The door closed. The silence hung for half a second, then Eddie raised his glass. To clarity, he said. To boundaries, Dan added. To women who show up, Marcia said, glancing at Lauren. And men who enforce their rules. We ate. We talked. It wasn't raucous. It was steady. When the plates were empty and the playlist ran out, people hugged me or squeezed my shoulder and left. Lauren lingered near the entryway. You handled that, she said. I thought you'd blow up. You didn't. I did this at work earlier, I said. Different folder. She smiled small. If you ever need a witness to timelines, call me. I might, I said. Thanks for the folder. She nodded and left. Mike was gone before she was. Of course he was. When the house was quiet, Eddie stayed behind to help clean. He gathered cups while I wiped the counter. The kitchen smelled like lemon cleaner again, but this time it meant new, not sterile. You sure you're okay? He asked. I'm consistent, I said. That's different than okay. But I'll get there. He chuckled. You always do. He left. I took a trash bag to the bin outside and looked up at the handful of porch lights on our street. Ordinary night. People doing dishes, kids watching shows, dogs barking at nothing. The world didn't end because I stopped allowing mine to be chipped away. Saturday morning, I changed the passcodes and sent a simple message. Effective immediately, we're separating finances. I scheduled a pickup for her remaining boxes. I texted her mother, who'd always liked me, and told her Megan was safe and needed a place to land. I did not grant access to my day for her second thoughts. She sent 3 texts that afternoon. 1. You humiliated me. 2. We should talk. 3. I can explain. I responded once. No need. Pick up the rest Monday between 4 and 6. I'll be here. After that, I won't. She called twice. I didn't answer. Boundaries only hold if they hold. Monday at 4 she arrived with a friend I didn't know and Mike's car idling a house away. She kept her eyes down. I opened the garage, pointed to the boxes, signed the inventory list. She thrust at me like we were doing retail. No one made small talk. When the trunk shut, she turned. You did this to look strong, she said. I did this to be strong, I replied. There's a difference. She started to say something, stopped, and left. The car drove away. I closed the garage and stood in the quiet. It felt like an empty auditorium after a play. All the props still there, the performance over. I didn't torch the place. I didn't delete photos. I didn't post anything. I lived. That week I went to work, went to the gym, had dinner with Eddie and his wife, where we didn't talk about me for once. Marcia waved from her porch, asked if I needed anything. Dan told me my numbers looked good. The world kept turning. A month later, the paperwork was signed. No theatrics. I kept the house and my truck. She moved into an apartment across town near a busy street that sounded like a constant reminder. People told me she and Mike tried to make it work and didn't. That's not my business. I heard she bounced jobs twice. Also not my business. What was my business? I slept in the master bedroom again, not because I needed the space, but because I'd earned it. I bought a used boat and learned to take it out on Sunday mornings. I fixed up the guest room, and my nephew came to stay for a week and learned to change oil. I met someone decent at a friend's barbecue, a nurse named Paige who doesn't romanticize chaos. She laughs at my dry jokes, not at me. We take it slow. She asks real questions and hears answers. When she walked into my kitchen the first time, she looked around like it was a place, not a stage. "You did all this?" she asked, touching the shelves I built. "Yeah," I said. "It's not fancy, but it's mine." "It's solid," she said. "I like solid." We ate tacos at my counter, and she told me about her shift, and I told her about Dan's weird habit of chewing peppermint at meetings. She laughed, and it wasn't mean, and I realized you can build something after an implosion without spending the rest of your life sweeping. Megan exists somewhere. I know that because our town is small, and my friends bump into her at stores. They say she looks tired. They say she's quieter now. Not my problem. The only time her name crosses my screen is the day our old streaming account tried to renew under my card, and I got an alert. I smiled, updated the settings, and went back to changing a light fixture. That's the whole point. You stop participating in someone else's theater, the show collapses. People ask if I'd do anything different. Maybe I'd draw the line earlier. Maybe I'd trust my gut instead of giving endless benefit of the doubt to someone who treated it like credit with no limit. But I don't lose sleep. I made my last move clean. I didn't shout. I didn't throw. I said my rule and I enforced it. That's how you know you're a man, not a performer. You don't keep auditioning for the role of respected husband in your own house. You take the part or you leave the stage. If you're waiting for the line I told her at the end, here it is. When she picked up the last box and stood in my garage pretending she didn't know how to carry it, I didn't lecture. I looked at the person I used to think was on my team, and I said the only sentence that mattered. "Respect is the rent for access," I told her. "Your lease is up." Then I shut